And in eyes, like, so scared, I'll be like, come, let's go have an ice cream. You better ask mama.
Yeah, I'm quite the terror.
Hi, I'm Kunal Kemu.
And I'm Suhali Khan.
Thank you for watching Freak India.
Which dog breed is your partner and why?
I'd say you're an indie. Because you're like
Going by that sound.
you're like a mix of lots of vibrant and exciting and challenging things. No? I don't know. What breed are you actually?
I don't know.
A bulldog.
Am I? Okay.
I don't know. You're quite.
Breed dog. I would say.
You're quite I'm still thinking you're quite muscular and tough, but also if you scratch you behind the ears, you're quite.
That's every dog.
I'm talking about you.
Yeah, but that's every dog. So
Yeah,
how
but
do
you,
put
if
it
I
in
scratch you behind the ears, you're quite stupid.
Okay.
Right.
So you don't have a breed.
No. I think a bulldog or like an indie.
I would say a golden retriever for now.
Because
Because your mane is like a golden retriever.
I'm just very hairy. Thanks.
You're also
I'm loyal.
you're very friendly. You're more outgoing than I am.
That's true.
And that's the quality of that breed.
Which one is more likely to scold or discipline your daughter? Which of you is more of a neat freak? Which one likes to dress her up and do her hair? Which one of you is more likely to cave in and give her the chocolate?
No chance.
I have to make her cave in.
Yeah, there's
Sometimes
no,
I get scolded if I'm buying the chocolate.
absolutely. Not for himself. I'm not. I don't want to bother him.
Get out of the ice cream.
No, he has his own
And
mother.
in eyes, like, so scared, I'll be like, come, let's go have an ice cream. You better ask mama.
Yeah, I'm quite the terror.
Any concept, if it's introduced in a way of like you're trying to teach them something, there are lesser chances of it going. You have to kind of make it a part of your lifestyle and ease it into their lifestyle.
When you grow up in a concrete jungle like Mumbai, where you really have to go quite far to find a garden or a park to play in, it is all about being accustomed to senses and sensory things. Even you as a child apparently were freaked out by walking on grass.
Yeah.
And even Inaya, when she first walked on grass, it wasn't like she loved it. She just wasn't used to that sensation, having grown up in a modern flat. The more you're accustomed to it, the more it's natural to you. Even nature can be unnatural for a lot of children of our generation. So, you have to expose them to things, whether it's the ocean, whether it's water, whether it's, forest. Free play is very important. And luckily now that the lockdown is eased and COVID restrictions have eased, they're going to school, they have play dates, they meet each other. So even if you leave her and her friends alone in a room, they'll engage themselves. They'll make up, they'll do imagine and pretend play. And they can take an ordinary cardboard box and make it into a million things. So the idea is not to restrict their imagination and also not to overwhelm them with too many options. Because you may think that they'll be bored, but they're not. I think parents are also very structured. And I'm certainly guilty of trying to chalk out her entire week, whether it's her diet, whether it's her play dates. And sometimes she'll just be like, I just want to play. So I have to be more sensitive to that. And often we're doing that because it makes our lives easier as working parents or just as parents. You really have to try and listen to your child and respond to it. I love it.
Because it's such a generational thing. You grew up, we had to listen to our parents wouldn't listen to us.
Yeah.
And now we have to listen to our children. So I feel like my generation got screwed in the middle. Because we never got to be the boss.
Yeah, that's true. But it is what it is. I would say gently. Especially depends on how old your child is, because when they're very young, they like to just reach out and they're very spontaneous, and that can be scary for the pet as well. And sometimes when a pet is scared, they might, especially if it's a cat, they like to scratch sometimes. If it's a dog, they will not bite, but they might, what is the word? Snap at you.
I think what's important is if you're nervous around them, then they'll be nervous. If you're relaxed, then they'll be relaxed. Having said that, you obviously have to know the nature of your pet. I wouldn't suggest going into anybody's house and letting your child or kid, go and jump on that pet, because you don't know what the nature of that pet is.
Like we've always told before you reach out and touch any pet,
Ask for permission.
ask for permission. Say, is it all right for me to touch your pet?
Yeah.
And then wait for the response.
So, the more you take them out, whether it's a petting zoo or you keep them around animals, even if whatever screen time they get, or when you talk to them about animals, the way you talk to them about an animal or birds is how they will start to kind of learn from it. If they have a friend who maybe threw a stone at a dog and they come and tell you, you don't say, oh, that's wrong, you should never do that. You should try and reason out with them, saying that how would you feel if somebody did that to you? And I think they're intelligent enough to kind of take it back and then reason it out with that other friend. It wasn't something that I was taught, that you have to be humble. I was never told be down to earth and all that. But the whole idea of how we lived our life was so simple.
I think kids emulate, and as like Kunal said, instead of teaching them, it's best to show them how to behave. So, for example, I never ever heard my father raise his voice, and I just understood that it wasn't cool to raise your voice. He always spoke to people with respect, and I understood that that's how you behave. So, I think if you try to be a good role model, but also slip up and apologize for it, that's also okay, because we're all human. I think the important thing to remember in any marriage, in any partnership, in any parenting situation is that everything is a phase, and that phase will be over and a new phase will start. So certainly for me, when I was very obsessed with being a mother and I wanted everything to be by the book, and I thought that I wanted to be in control of everything, I feel like now I've achieved some kind of balance in life. And the important thing, again, because you get very freaked out, I think, is to know that this will pass and then something else will start. So it's important to be flexible and fluid. So it's called Inni and Bobo Find Each Other. The principal characters are, of course, a girl called Inni and an adopted puppy called Bobo. And this is one of what should hopefully be a series of many adventures that they'll go on together.
The germ of the story already existed before we even wrote it, because it was a version of this story was something that I was telling Inaya, and she liked it, and it was her who said that why can't I look at pictures? And when I discussed it with Soha, she said, we should write this book. So I just kind of wrote the story as I had told her, which she liked, and then she gave it this whole form of how it could kind of come on a book and how it would read. Generally in parenting, I think it takes two to tango, but she does the heavy lifting. So I know that there are certain things that I may disagree with them, but it's not a point of conflict between us, because I understand there are certain things that she knows better, so let her do that. But then there are certain things that if we have an issue on, we kind of figure out who's going to veto. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe.
I don't know, what am I doing? I'm just like,
You can
what
repeat
he said.
it. You can repeat it.
What he said. Like, share and subscribe.